came to his door, loosely wrapped in dressing gown and shawl. Her husband followed, ejaculating. Now, that image just did my head in. Hello. Well, I've been going through this version of War of the Worlds I've been doing right now, and going through the original book. There's one thing that's come to mind, and that is the amount of times H.G. Wells uses the word ejaculatory, or that sort of word, which today means something sexual, isn't it? But back then it meant, according to what I've seen on here, it's something quickly and rapidly, not in the modern sense, sexual sense, it says. And her husband followed, ejaculating was the one thing that really set me off, but I had noticed it a bit earlier in an earlier chapter that I've already done. And so I've just done a search here, and we can go through that and have a bit of a laugh at it all about how this word was used in a different sense back in the late Victorian period, or whenever 1897 was. So this is a bit that I've already cut out of a previous episode of that, and the second monster followed the first, and at that the artilleryman began to crawl very cautiously across the hot heather ash towards Horsell. He managed to get alive into the ditch by the side of the road, and so escaped to working. There his story became ejaculatory. Now, I didn't really pay much attention, I just cut it out, but there's another one a bit further down in a later one that I'm working on now, where they're in London, basically what happened in London. And it's getting to the end of the chapter, and they're looking out the window as everyone panics as the black dust is coming. And this is from his brother's perspective, this part is written. And he heard footsteps running to and fro in the room and up and down the stairs behind him. His landlady came to his door, loosely wrapped in dressing gown and shawl. Her husband followed, ejaculating. Now, that image just did my head in, and I thought at that point I had to look a bit further into it, because it's obviously not used in the context it's being used today. And for that very reason, I'm going to edit this out of my version. I'll put something in I'll put something in like her husband followed her, screaming or mad with rage or mad with panic, but I'm not going to put ejaculating in, because as you say here, it's not in the same context as it's used today. It's not a sexual reference back 120 odd years ago. Ejaculating can mean to say something rapidly in the historical meaning. In H.G. Wells' work, The War of the Worlds, where he uses it where he describes a character speaking quickly or flustered. Other uses, the word also has a history of being used in religious contexts, such as ejaculatory prayers, which are short, quick prayers. So that's the end of the short video. I just thought I'd bring that out, and if anyone was listening to those versions I'm making, they can understand why I've edited it out, because it just doesn't ring true today. And to tell the truth, I'd be frightened if I used it in my version. That would be an excuse for the censor Nazis at YouTube to stop that video being monetized or something. So I'm just cutting it out. Basically, I know it's funny and everything. It would have been mad to have left it in, but I'm cutting it out for that very reason. It's just not used in the modern sense. And do continue to listen to them, because I plan to maybe do the time machine after this one, and I wonder how many ejaculatories and ejaculations he uses in that one. We'll have to do a search on that and find out. Well, I like and share, and goodbye.